Okay, Mr. Ng Chong Lam of Penang-Based Ng Eng Kee and Sons. This is a family business that goes as far back as the 1936, which I believe is what you told me. Your father's time, your grandfather's time, and you have, I think, by and large, been a private company even since those days, right? So you have had the benefit of seeing many economic cycles come and go, world wars come and go. Of course, the business has survived and, of course, prospered through those years. Perhaps the theme of our discussion can really be the changing world order and how you see the shift of energy and the shift of power and the shift of money from the West to the East, right? And right now we're in a era of transition for high volatility. In terms of yourself at Ng Eng Kee and Sons, right? You're involved in all kinds of businesses, property, hospitality, retail, etc. Very diversified. How are you reading the world order now? How are you dealing with it?
There's some basic principle need to be looked at. You see, there's a golden rule. Always try to diversify your business to different sector, because you can't take a high risk depend on one business sector. If what happen if say technology change or maybe the market consumer pattern change, that company will just collapse. But of course, as a CEO of the group or any company, you need to look forward what will be the threat and opportunity that we can encounter. So you need to plan the strategy how to overcome all this. And I always believe doing business, you always have this golden principle which I always follow. Doing business, you need integrity and your trust and respect from others. It's not a money concern, right? As long you don't harm people, you do something good for the community, the business will come, right? And always keep cash about 30%, and property and asset is about 40 to 30. And the rest, if you have extra money, you can go for further investment or maybe divert your business to other industry where they can give you more better opportunity.
So in your mind now, after having seen so many cycles, right, what industries are still going to be relevant going forward?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to do a research, right? I mean, everyone have a chance to do a research on the market. How this global business is moving. We all know that today IA technology is dominate the world. I mean, big data, or even some of the online business is coming up now. The traditional way of doing business, it could be slowly eaten up. But I would say you have to follow this type of trend. In this world, today the political and economic is not very uncertainty because a lot of challenge. The wealth distribution among the nation is not well balanced now. The gap is even greater now. So to do that, certain thing that you need to identify. I would say automation, business, big data, and healthcare, and green energy, particular energy now, need to be addressed.
So as the head of this company, Ng Eng Kee, it's a private business.
Yeah.
Okay. Profitable for sure, I think.
Yeah.
It also means you don't have external shareholders to appease or quarterly earnings to also adhere to.
I have an external shareholder with a joint venture.
I see.
Also, some company I'm wholly owned on that.
I see.
So because you can't depend on your own self, because we are not expert in everything. So sometimes you see some talent people who have the technology in hand, but they don't have the money or capital to invest.
Right.
So you will see how his character and his behavior. And some is very good, talented, and good ethic people.
Okay, so with this current structure in place, right, how are you investing in these new industries that we just described?
Some can be private placement, some can be a joint venture, and some I just buy the share.
Okay, so public shares, private shares,
and on the listing share.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So which market interests you right now?
If you look at today global movement, you look at EU or even you look at the US, the American side, oversupply of money. They keep on printing money during the pandemic period. If you look at their trade, they are mostly in the deficit, and which is 10 years to 20 years. Their trade deficit ever since 1973 until now, never see the surplus, and they keep on printing money M2, which is so huge. Today is over excess of 9 trillion against their GDP, about 130%, above 100. So these are things, is a track. If you are not careful, you believe that the Americans still in the very strong economy. But I would say today, the Americans just rely on the finance sector and services sector. But the manufacturer sectors is not there already. They're all moving to the Asia region. So opportunity will be much better we invest in Asia region or the Middle East. Now also you look at Middle East, they know that one day the oil will not be not be in good demand. So they need to diversify their economy, just like having agriculture, manufacture sector and services sector. You see, the core economy of any nation, you need to comprise with agriculture sector, manufacture sector and services sector. Service, of course, including finance and the legal, services also, or logistics. So when you have that, your national security will be much better. But those countries who don't have resources, like Singapore, you see, they are depend on services, but they don't have manufacture, but they have the very high-tech technology on research side, so they can sell off their know-how.
So how do you see the Malaysian economy now? Where are the situations as how you see it?
Because of our political situation, the party are struggling each other. There's no master plan, the real master plan of the economic, right? So far, nobody knows what is the direction will look like. They just keep on saying invite foreign investor come in or even local investor come in. But when your political is unstable, you don't expect huge investment coming in. You look at these few weeks, when the US index was up, Malaysian currency was down suddenly from 4.18 to 4.40. And this is a signal to us. Unless we have to do something on this. Any nation need to have a strong economy. You need talent. That's why we stage have been telling us, without skill and talent people, you can't run the company one. So it's the same for nation.
So what's your advice to Malaysian entrepreneurs who want to succeed? Do they stay here? Do they go abroad? Do they transition their customer base from Malaysia to the rest of the world? Do they focus on America, which is still rich but getting poorer? Do they focus on China, which is getting richer but a bit unknown? Do they try and sell to the Middle East, where it's a bit further away? What's your advice?
There's no hard rule. Unless say our enterprise, Malaysian enterprise need to have more dialogue with the government to let them understand what is happening in Malaysia now. We're short of talent. A lot of talent people are going out. I give you one example. In Penang, you know the electronic industry is quite huge, right? Maybe on the 4th position in the world. But we are short of 8,000 engineers. That is very conservative figure, and some say 15,000. You can have a foreign investor come in, but you don't have people to provide. That's why the salary keep on increase and the cost keep on increase. Education became very vital to the industry. We need to develop all these type of skilled people.
Assuming the government doesn't play its part, and you cannot rely on them, and you have to rely on yourself and your business.
Okay.
How do you position the business? Do you look at China? If you look at China, Chong Lam, how do you strategize for China? What does it take to succeed in China?
You see, as an enterprise, if I feel that Malaysia have no opportunity, then I will start moving overseas. Now I have to look at the country GDP growth and they have a very powerful consumer purchase. Consumer power is very important for the market, right? Second, they have a lot of infrastructure behind to back up, like banking services, the transportation system. These are things need to be considered on. And how that particular country, the political, are they stable or not? Are there rules and law are in order. These are things need to consider. If say any country who have fulfilled this type of requirement to the foreigner investor, I'm sure a lot of investors would like to come in. First thing, your infrastructure is there, your services is there, your skilled people is there, your market is there, your supply chain is there, and that's how competitiveness, the degree of competitiveness is there, and that's why that nation definitely will be the richest.
Do you do business in China, Chong Lam?
Yes. In fact, since 1994, I shift part of my business into China.
What do you do there?
I do the property development on the office tower building, and also I build the condo, the luxury condo in Guangdong, the Zhongshan town. All this, of course, it's a timing also, because at that time China don't have a very good economic status, so they need a lot of foreign investors come in. When foreign investors rush into China, they felt that they don't have facility like office block, or even some of the basic factory in the manufacture base is not there. That's why I start to develop this area, and including the hotel also. Because investors come in, they also like to stay in the proper hotel.
What did it take to succeed in doing business in China?
Okay, go back to the golden rule. As a businessman, you need to build out your own trust, credibility. Your credibility is very important. You see, whatever you say, you need to deliver. So when you go to any foreign country, like even in China, it's the same. When you tell the authorities, say, oh, I want to invest this, they will help you to look for the piece of land, and they will also help you on how to build up the surrounding infrastructure, like water supply. So these things need to be addressed. And the second thing, you must prepare yourself that you need to have a very solid finance to run the business. You don't go there and say, oh, I want to borrow from the bank. They won't trust, because you're not solid enough. Whatever you promise or you sign the agreement, you make sure you deliver without blindly invest. You need to go for feasibility study, everything before you start. Once you build up and it's very successful, like I give you one example, when I built a office tower in Xiamen, right in front of the waterfront, is a prime land. It's an intelligent building, energy saving. The compressor is on the top of the roof. It's coming down all the way, so it saves a lot of energy. And the view that we designed that building is 270 degrees to see the sea view. The lift, normally the building lift is at the center of the building, but we put it at the back, so that we have space about 270 can see the sea view. Then I invite the multinational company like the Charter Bank, OCBC, Big Four, the auditor firm, some insurance company like Ping An, and even Ping An Ying Bank, and also the logistic company like Mars Airline, Thai Airline, Evergreen, all this coming in. So these are multinational company, and even China Petroleum also coming in. I realized that in China, when you do any sales turnover or cost sales revenue, there's always a local tax 3% for the local government. You look at this company, the turnover is so huge, right? So the whole building receive the local tax to the local government, Xiamen government, 300 million a year.
Just one building?
Just one building. And they just give me the title that this building is an economic yield building.
And what does that mean in terms of how China does business? This tax, this approach, how is the China way of doing business different from the Western way of doing business?
China doing business is like that. You need to be black and white. It's the same like Western side, but depend on your own character. You see, as I say, whatever you promise, you need to deliver. But if you face the issue or problem during the mid of process, you may sit down and sincerely discuss with the authority. They will help you one. But one thing I will advise people, don't ever go and violate the China law. Whatever the regulation they impose, don't over violate it. Because in the past, I saw the first time they went to mainland China doing business, they have double accounting system. One for their own, one from the government. So less profit there. In reality, the profit is there, but they don't disclose it, they don't declare it. So they only pay that less tax. However, the China government authority is already known. They use a computer. Whatever you turn over, your productivity, all this data, they will collect it. One day I was sitting with the tax bureau chief that's in Zhongshan. He said, Chong Lam, one thing I want to tell you. Among all the factory, you are the only one have one account book. That means you are real. You are not escape any tax at all. But the rest is not like that. But we know they are escaped from tax. But we don't catch them at this moment. When the amount is huge, then we go and impose and penalty them in the very heavy.
So trust is important in China?
That's right. So you see, when I built a building in Xiamen, right? Then after it's a very successful story. That's why the Zhongshan government heard about that. They came to Xiamen and see me, would you like to invest in Zhongshan?
So track record.
So it's a track record.
What if you fail on one? Do you have a chance to come back?
Once you fail on one, I think it's quite difficult to come back. Because you see, you must put ourselves in the position of the local government people. If I'm a mayor or I'm a party secretary of that particular city, if one project which I granted and it's failed, huge project
Problem.
I got problem also, I will step down easily. But if I can make the local GDP grow, means that I have a chance to promote up. So you should also help them on this type of thing. That's why when I build all this, I create a lot of revenue for the local government. And one more thing, whatever you make the profit in China, you make sure you contribute back something to the community. What I did is I built school, 3 schools. Start from my grandfather, my father, and myself. We built up. Because, as I say, education system is very vital for the nation interest.
So China sounds to be very orderly, very regulated.
Yes.
How important is hierarchy in China?
You have to respect the hierarchy, you see. The communist system is like that. Party secretary is number 1, right? The administrator is called mayor or called prime minister. So the prime minister or the mayor report to the party secretary one. Like Li Keqiang report to Xi Jinping, just like that. So actually the Communist Party control the whole nation. But the administrator is run by these people, but also came from the party member, right? So they have this type of a bureaucracy on this. So these are the things I like to share for those people who like to go to China or even Hong Kong now.
Are you concerned that America is unhappy with China's emergence?
Definitely, because I think if you look at it, we have to do business. As I say, we also need to understand the history. Learning history is no harm because history always repeat. American in the past, ever since the Second World War, they have been dominating the world because they are the richest country after the Second World War, because they sell weapons to Europe, they sell weapons to Asia, so they earn a lot of money. They are the huge manufacturer in the world at that time. That means they build tanker, aeroplane, everything. That time, American holding almost 85% of the gold reserve fund, and they command in one of the conference that U.S. will dominate. U.S. currency will dominate the world backed up by the gold. Per ounce, per $38 will exchange 1 ounce of 1 gram of gold.
So when does China overtake America, do you think?
Actually, China didn't overtake America until recently only.
So it has overtaken?
2014 onward.
So in other words, if you are to give some advice to people now, it is maybe to position for the future into those industries that you mentioned, but also to look towards Asia and specifically China in terms of target market. Is that what you're trying to say?
You need to be partner with China now. You see, we can have a supply chain partnership or even your market segment penetrate the market into China, because they are the biggest consumer market now. The people are rich, much richer than the Southeast Asia people now. You can't compare as compared to before 2,000 years ago when I went to China. 100 renminbi, you can spend almost 1 week. And it's a luxury. But today you can't. It's just one entertainment on just about 4 or 5 person. In the proper restaurant. At least now 3,000 to 4,000 renminbi.
That's about 2,000 ringgit.
Yes, it's a lot. So to Malaysian people now going to China is a quite heavy burden.
If I could summarize your advice to other businessmen into 3 things, what would they be?
First, you must have your own credibility. And of course, hardworking is there. You can't escape it. And always respect each other with a good communication skill. And always keep on learning.
Credibility, hard work, respect, and continuous learning. That's 4. Mr. Ng Chong Lam,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.